She had almost immediately been elected for all recent flap reports, and in 1933, look back at the period of her career, Bow decided in the atmosphere of Hollywood is the last scene for a movie about French Revolution, where women were hollering and waving pitchforks twice as violently as many of the guys, and the only ladies in sight are the only ones getting their heads cut off. Now, by New Year 1924, hello, welcome to episode 144 of the True Crime Lounge podcast. My name is Breezy. I will be your lovely host today. We are in my living room. I know it's a very new place, and also I gotta tell y'all, I moved recently, so we are currently doing this podcast in a new apartment. Very much was a much needed move, and something I've learned that if it costs you your peace of mind, it is too expensive. Um, so trust me, having a peace of mind is super important, which is why I encourage therapy. But today we're going to be continuing on with our old Hollywood crimes little mini series. And we're going to be talking about Miss Clara Bow. And you can go back and watch the first episode. But today, where we talked about her life before fame, the early years of her career, and the early silent films. Today, we're going to be talking about the preferred pictures and the Paramount Pictures today. Um, and it is currently almost 3 o'clock at the time of this recording, so I may have to stop in between to go finish getting ready for work. I'm probably just going to wear what I have on since I'm in the kitchen tonight, if I'm being honest. But anyway, let's talk about her preferred pictures, okay? Um, Now, on July 22nd, 1923, Clara would leave New York, her dad, her boyfriend behind her in Hollywood, as a chaperone for the journey of the subsequent Southern California stay. The studio appointed writer and agent Maxine Alton, whom Bo later branded a liar. In late July, Bo would enter the studio as B.P. Schulting um, office, wearing a simple high school uniform, where she had won several gold medals on her center track. Now she was tested in a press release for early August. It said Bo had become a member of the Preferred Pictures permanent stock. Now Bo was signed for Preferred Pictures, also working with other studios. Now Alton and Bo rented an apartment in the Hillview near the Hollywood Boulevard, and Preferred Pictures was ran by Skolberg, who had started as a publicity manager at the famous Players Lasky. But in the aftermath of the power struggle with the formation of the United Artists, ended up losing losing side and lost his job. Now he founded the Preferred in 1919 as a result at the age of 27. Now, Maytime was Bow's first Hollywood picture in the adaptation of a popular operetta, um, in which was essayed, in which she essayed Alice Tremaine. Before the film was finished, um, Skolberg announced that Bow was given a lead in the studio's upcoming film Poison Paradise, but she was lent to First National Pictures to co-star in the adaptation of Gertrude Appleton's 1923 best-selling bestseller Black Oxen that was shot in October, and the co-star of Calling Moore in Painted People, shot in November. Now, director Frank Lloyd was casting the high part of society, high for the high part for the part of high society flapper Jane Oglethorpe. And more than 50 women auditioned. Most of them had previous experience, and Bo reminisced saying, but he had not found exactly what he wanted. And finally, somebody suggested me to him, and when I came into his office with a big smile, came over my face and just to look over and tickled, and Lloyd told the press, Bo is the personification of ideal aristocratic flapper. Mischievous, pretty, aggressive, quick tempered, and deeply sentimental. And it was released in on January 4th, 1924. Now, Bo, what Bo was played Janet, the horrid flapper in Black's Oxen, holding a holding a flaming youth to her chest. And the flapper impersonated a younger actress, Clara Bow, who has five speaking titles and okay, titles every and every one of them was so entirely in accord to her character and the mood of the scene that it drew the laugh from what it was and what in film circles has turned this horrible audience. Now in Los Angeles, commentator Clara Bow was the prize vulgarian of the lot. She was amusing, spirited, but she never belonged in the picture. And Variety said that the horrid little flapper is adorably played. Now, Colleen Moore made her flapper debut as in a successful adaptation um, during the darling novel Flaming You. That was released November 12th, 1923, 6 weeks before the Black Oxen. Both films were produced in the First National Pictures, while Black Oxen was still being edited, The Flaming Youth was not yet released, and Bo requested that to the co-star Moore as a kid's sister was painted in the painted picture. Now Moore essayed the baseball playing tomboy, and Bo, according to Moore, said, "I don't like my part. I want to be yours." Now Moore was a well-established actress earning $1,200 a week. Bo got 200. Took offense and blocked the director from shooting the close-ups of Bo. Bo Moore was married to the film's producer, and Bo's protests were futile. And she basically goes, "I'll get that B." Um, and she told her boyfriend Jacobson, who had arrived in New York. Now Bo had sinus problems and decided to have them attended to that very evening. Now with Bo's face now in bandages, the studio had no choice but to recast her part. Now, Clara Bow, now in May, Moore renewed her efforts in The Perfect Flapper, produced by her husband. Despite the good reviews and suddenly withdrew. No more flappers, they have served their purpose. People have people are tired of the soda pop love affair, um, that she would tell Los Angeles Times. Now, which had commented a month earlier. Now, Clara Bow is a more outstanding type. She had almost immediately been elected for all recent flap reports, and in 1933, look back at the period of her career, Bow decided in the atmosphere of Hollywood is the last scene for a movie about French Revolution, where women were hollering and waving pitchforks twice as violently as many of the guys, and the only ladies in sight are the only ones getting their heads cut off. Now, by New Year 1924, Bo defied the possessive Maxine Alton and brought her father to Hollywood. And Bo remembered their reunion and said, a rap I don't care a rap for her nor B.P. Sugar, nor my motion picture career, nor Clara Bow. I just threw him in my arms and kissed him, and we both cried like a couple of fool kids. Now, It said it was wonderful. Now, Bo felt Mrs. Smith, the pseudonym Alden used, had misused her trust, and she wanted to keep a hold on a hold on her. So she did. So she made me think I was getting over, and that nothing but her clever management kept me going. Now, Bo said that her father Jacob would move to 1714 North Kingsley Drive in Hollywood together with Jacobson, who by then had also worked out for Ferd. And when Schoberg learned of this arrangement, he fired Jackson for potentially getting his big star into a scandal. And when Bo found out, she tore up her contract, threw it in his face, and told him that he couldn't ruin her private life. Jacobson concluded, and said that Clara was the sweetest girl in the world, but you didn't cross her and you didn't do her wrong. And on September 7, 1924, the LA Times, in their significant article, said, a dangerous but little devil, Clara. Um, impish, appealing, but oh, she can act. Her father is title and business manager, and Jacobson referred to as her brother. Now, Bo had appeared um in 8 releases in 1924. Two were released the same day, and Poison Paradise released on February 9th, 1924. She got her first lead, the clever little newcomer who works to win fresh recommendations with every new picture in which she appears. Now, this was atypical at the time of, and her character was skilled in the art of self-defense, preparedness, and all of the other devices in which the modern flapper is endowed. Fearlessly beats off the villain, and The Daughters of the Pleasure was released February 29th, 1924. And Beau and Marie Prevost flapped unhampered as flappers deluxe, and I wish somebody could star Clara Bow. I'm sure her infinite variety would keep her wearing us no matter what the scenes were. Now, she was loaned out to Universal, and where she was a top star for the first time in the Prohibition bootleg drama comedy Wine that was released August 20th, 1924, and the picture exposed the widespread liquor traffic from the upper class, where Beau portrays an innocent girl who develops into a wild, wet, red hot mama, a naughty, inebriated flapper, and Carl Sandburg reviewed it on September 29th, saying, if not information, it is good cracking. It is cracking good entertainment. Um, Elmo Winter of the Los Angeles Times was observed in September 7, 1924, saying Bo's first lead was in Wine, a seven-reel feature currently classified as lost by the Library of Congress. Now, she radiates sex appeal, temper, and an impetus of humor. She hid us for her blonde hair so it could photograph dark in pictures. Now, her social decorum is a natural, good, pleasant, and pleasantly informal kind, and she can act on or off screen, taking her joyous journey with the hapless victim. Um, is scared into speechlessness, and she gurgles with naughty delight and tries hers. And Bo will remember at this time saying, all the time I was running around, I guess in that sense of trying to have a good time. Um, Maybe this is a good thing because I was supposed to have a lot that night and a lot of joy in my life got into the screen. Now in 1925, Bo would appear in 14 productions, six for her contract owner, preferred picture, and eight of an Outlaw Motion Picture Classic magazine, which wrote in that Clara Bow shows alarming symptoms for becoming a sensation that year and featured on the cover. Now, I want to say I am almost satisfied with myself in my work or anything by the time I'm ready to have a great break. And I'll be and I'll have been seen such a long time that anybody would be tired of seeing me. She would also say she would go on to work on two or three pictures at once, and she would play all sorts of roles, and it was very hard in the times. I need to clean up in here. But in the times as well. Now, preferred pictures will loan Bow out to producers for sums of 1,500 to 2,000 a week. While Bow's salary was 207.50 per week, the studios, like any other independent artist or theater at the time, was under contract for the Big Three in PAA. Now, which have formed a trust to block out independence and enforce a monopolistic studio system. On October 21st, 1925, Schulberg filed preferred pictures for bankruptcy with debts of $820,000 with assets of 1,400, which is a lot at that time. Now, 3 days later, it was announced um, that Skolberg would join with Adolf Zilker to become associate producer of Paramount Pictures, captivated into the positions because he had Clara Bow under his personal contract. Now, Adolf Zilker, who was a Paramount Pictures CEO, wrote in his memoirs, all the skill of the director and the booming of the press agent drums will not make a star. Only the audiences can do that, and we study audiences' reactions with great care. Adela Rogers St. John's had a different take. In 1950, he said, "If every star was made by public demand, it would be Clara. It was Clara Bow." And Louise Brooks in 1980 will say, "Bow became a star without nobody's help." Now, the Plastic Age was Bow's final effort for preferred pictures, and her biggest hit up into that time. Now she started as a good bad college girl, Cynthia Day, against Donald Keefe, and it was shot at a location in Panama College in the summer of 1925. It was released in 1950. Due to a block booking, it was not shown in New York until July 21st, 1926. Photoplay was displeased and the college atmosphere was implausible, and Clara Bow is not our idea of a college girl. Theater's owners were happy. The manager of the Liberty Theater said that the picture is the greatest sensation we have ever seen in our theater. It was 100% our box office, and some critics felt Bow had conquered new territory and presents a whimsical touch to her work and adds greater laurels to her first ascending star into popularity. Now Time singled her out, complimenting her on her saving the pictures, and only the amusing and fact of Clara Bow rescues the pictures. Now she will begin to date her co-star Gilbert Rowland, who became her first fiance in June 1925, and she was credited for the first to wear a hand painted painted legs in public, and this was reported to have many followers in California beaches. Now, throughout the 1920s, Bow played with gender conventions and sexuality under her public image, along with her tomboy and flapper roles. She starred in boxing films, posed for her promotional photographs, but appropriating traditionally androgynous and masculine traits. And Bow presented herself as a confident modern woman. Now, let's move on to Paramount Pictures, where Bowen explained in November 1929, rehearsals sat my pep. And from the beginning of her career, she relied on immediate direction. Like, tell me what I have to do or tell me I'll do it. Um, Now, Bo was keen on poetry and music, but according to Roger St. John's, her attention span did not allow her to appreciate novels. Now, Vo's focal point was the scene and her creativity, and made directors um, extra cameras to cover her spontaneous actions. Now, years after Bo left Hollywood, directors Victor Fleming compared Bo to Stradivarius violin, um, and they would touch. and go on. Say, touch her, and she responded with genius. In my movie stardom isn't exact acting ability, but I am personally temperament, and once directed Clara Bow, and she was mad and crazy, but what a personality. And in 1981, Buzz Schulberg decided to have Bow an easy winner for the dumbbell award, and who couldn't act, but compared her to a puppy that his father, B.P. Schulberg, trained to become Lassie. Now, Bow appeared in 8 releases in 1926, five in Paramount, which included film versions of the musical Kid Boots with Eddie Cantor, um, and three Lone Owls 2 films in 1925. In late 1925, Boa returned to New York and co-starred in Ivanesque, a drama of dancing mothers, and A Good Bad Flapperish Upper Class Society. And Alice Joyce starred as a dancing mother and Conway Turtle as the bad boy Naughton. And the picture was released November 1st, 1926, with local reviews and very positive. Now, Clara Bow was known as a screen flapper and does her stuff as a child now does her in her remarkable performance in Dancing Moms. Now Louise's books remembered her as Brownlow's books, and she always sensationalized in the U.S. Um, Now on April 12th, 1926, Bow was signed her first contract with Paramount to retain services as an actress for a period of 6 months from June 6, 1926 to December 6, 1926 at a salary of $750 per week. Bow negotiated her contract not to have morals clause, and Victor Fleming's comedy triangle Mantrap Bow as Alvina's manicurist. Now Cure's Lonely Heart, Joe Easter at the Great Northern, as well as the Popping Pills, um, for New York attorney runaway Robert Preskin. Now Bow commented that was bad in the book, but darn it, of course they made it make it that the picture, so I played as a flirt. Now, the film was released on June 24th, 1926, and to rave reviews. Now, sorry, there's sirens going off, and I'm just getting very nosy now. But I can't get scroll brained. I'm getting scroll brained. Are you gonna come by this little subway? No, they're not. Anyway, when the screen was released and Clara Bow just walks away with the picture from a moment when she fell into camera range, while photoplay told her when she is not on screen, nothing else matters. When she is off screen, um, Skull Samber wrote that it is the smartest and swiftest move, for Clara Bow. Now, on August 16, 1926, Bow's agreement with Paramount Pictures renewed, and after a 5-year deal, um, her salary would be 1,700 and an advanced yearly 4,000 a week. Now for the last year. Now Bow added that she intended to leave the motion picture business at the expiration of her contract in 1931, where she appeared in 6 Paramount releases. Um, and the film gave her nicknames like the It Girl, and its reviews were less than outstanding. Now, in night, I'm trying so hard to focus here, y'all. I really am. That's a lot. I wonder if there was a wreck. Now, in 1927, Bow starred in Wings, a war picture written to accommodate her as Paramount's biggest star, but she was not happy about her part. As now, Bow's bohemian lifestyle and dreadful manners were considered reminders of Hollywood's elite and uneasy position of high society. Um, and the greatest emotional stress that was she was sentimental, childish, sweet, and hard-boiled based attitude in her defense mechanism. I That is it for part two. Probably not gonna be able to record anymore right now. If I'm not tired, I'll record part three when I get home from work. But I'll probably have to probably record part three and four when I come before I go to work tomorrow. Um, but part three, we will be talking about her sound films, Nevada Ranch, retirement, and health issues. I know you're probably wanting to get to the true crime part, and we will get there, I promise. But y'all have a happy Thanksgiving and a great day.